the Big Bubble versus the Big Muff. I mean, this is the first time in Nike history that we're going back to the beginning, before the beginning. 1986, the Big Bubble. This is the shoe that started it all. With its 4 bubbles, not 3, it's kind of been a myth, and the myth has now come to life. We've got some history repeating itself here with the Air Max Day coming up, which is crazy in itself that like Nike have this Air Max Day to celebrate one shoe, obviously because it's sustained so many decades, so many generations. And now we're bringing out a shoe that so many of us didn't even know existed. I've been DJing for 22 years now, so I'm going through so many generations of 18-year-olds that are kind of getting used to new music or wanting the same music or, you know, showing the phone now to kind of give a request. And I've always wanted to be on the stage and I've always wanted to be the center of attention because I had an acting degree, which is kind of what led me to becoming a DJ, because once I realized that I could be on stage and play music and have my two loves come together, and then the fashion part of it as well, it kind of all started making sense. Even just like being a female DJ and like having that kind of status too. I didn't know that. I was just doing what I loved doing and really loved it. Well, I guess I was really lucky because my parents love music, so they always had it on in the house. So there was always like Commodores playing, you know, Lionel Richie, Stevie Wonder, Elvis. My dad really loved Elvis. A lot of funk and soul. So it was on all the time. So, and they had this massive like record player deck thing that I was just so obsessed with. So I was like, oh my God, what's that? And so from there, I just kind of was like, you know, really taken with vinyl. And then I stole all their collection. Sorry. So, you know, I amassed a kind of nice little collection of really cool original pressings of soul and funk stuff, and I just loved it. Yeah, De La Soul was the first ones that kind of got me into hip hop and the Native Tongues, Queen Latifah, Jungle Brothers, Tribe Called Quest. But it wasn't until TLC came out and I saw them, the way they dressed, and I thought, oh my God, girls can dress like dudes, this is awesome. And that's kind of where my vibe started from. And definitely with like my clothing style and my sense of like, you know, hat, top, shoes, seeing the Air Jordan come out and being so obsessed with that shoe, and then seeing this runner come out, because everyone around my area where I grew up in Adelaide were really avid runners. And so everyone was wearing these incredible track shoes. And I remember seeing my dad's friend wearing this red shoe with this thing in the middle that you could see. I was like, what are these? And he's like, the MX 87s, the MX 1s, or whatever they were back then. I said, so you can actually run on them without that bursting? And he's like, oh yeah, I run like every day. He was like running like 10Ks or whatever in these shoes, and I was so obsessed with them. And I was like, how do I get a pair? But obviously I couldn't get a pair because nothing came in my size at that time. I was Littlefoot. I've never really steered in that direction because I've never really, shock horror, been a runner. I'm not a runner, but I've always loved the aesthetic of like the Air Max 90. I was always into the Air Max 90 as a shoe because it was more directed in my eyes kind of into a fashion sense, and I've always been kind of driven by fashion sneakers. You know, this was a forbidden thing for me to have sneakers. So for me, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get every pair I can. I kind of had this weird competitive thing with dudes where I was like, if they're gonna have it, I'm gonna have more of it. And a friend of mine who was a really good DJ, and I would DJ, and I went, I'm gonna make a job out of it. I always wanted to go that one step further. So it was kind of like, I think it was subconscious, but maybe not. And then I think that, yeah, I became kind of known as this sneaker collector who had a crazy amount of sneakers and a vast knowledge, because I was so driven by the history of everything as well. Especially around the time I started collecting really avidly, which was like around 2005, 2006, seeing all the dudes wearing these shoes that I'd never seen before, and then was like, oh my God, I've got to get into that. And then it kind of sparked this obsession, I guess. And then I was really lucky in 2017 to be one of the OGs of the Air Max 1 representatives, because I think, I guess that era, especially in the mid-2000s, really kind of was what really drove me into, all right, let's get serious about this shoe. And it's wide, and I've got a wide foot, and it's got cushioning. I like to be cushioned. Once you get it in your hand, you're going to understand how different it looks to the 87, and then you'll kind of then go into this kind of thought process of why this shoe actually wasn't released. And if you look into your history about why it wasn't released, you'll understand that some of the designs and technologies were probably a little bit too far ahead of themselves, that coming into 2023, they're really going to suit this age now. This is where it was meant to be. So this shoe is probably going to come into its own this year because it really does take us back in time towards the future. Oh my God, did you see what I did there? Oh. Anyway, so yeah, I'm really excited about the 26th of March to see what's going to happen. I mean, obviously this is the shoe that we're all waiting for, the big bubble with its 4 bubbles, not 3. I'm really excited to see what people think about the shoe and how they rock it, and if they rock it, rather than just, keep it as a piece of history in their collection, which I know I've done quite a bit, but I've gotten to an age now where I start to love wearing my shoes, so I can't wait to put these on foot and see what they're like.